Yes, YouTube, it is finally, it is the first day of the PDC World Dart Championship. So today we're going to use a little predictor app that I found on the internet. And we're going to predict who I think will lift that famous Sid Waddell trophy on the 3rd of January. So let's go through the first round lineups first. And in this first game, I've got Luke Littler winning easily. Second game, I'm going to go with David Davis on this one. Now, a lot of people have got this one down as a potential banana skin for Joe Cullen, but for me, Joe Cullen wins this one. For this one, I've gone with Mensur Suljovic. I think he wins quite comfortable. And again, this is another one. People have this one as a bit of a banana skin, but I think Damon Hetter's got enough about him to comfortably win this one. Raymond van Vanderbilt versus Stefan Belmont. I think Barney wins this one quite comfortable. And here's another one. Rob Cross hasn't had the best of years, but I still feel like he's got enough to beat Cord Decker. Mervyn King and Ian White. I'm going to go with Ian White on this one. Now, Chris Dobey should easily win this one. Dobey is playing absolutely brilliant darts this year. Gilding versus Crabtree. So I'm going to go with Cam Crabtree on this one. Luke Woodhouse versus Boris. Kreimer. I'm going to go with Luke Woodhouse on this one. And then Martin Lukman and Max Hopp. Martin Lukman's had a really poor year, so I'm going to go with Max Hopp on this one. Gezi always. Gezi's absolutely had a brilliant year. Lucas Venig and Wesley Plaisier. I'm going to go with Wesley Plaisier on this one. Ryan Joyce and Owen Bates. Ryan Joyce is absolutely relentless on them doubles, and I feel he's going to have a decent tournament again this year. So we'll go with Ryan Joyce. Christoph Ratajski versus Alexis Toilor. I think Christoph wins on this one. Stephen Bunting versus Sebastian Bielecki. A lot of people have Sebastian Bielecki to win this one, but not for me. The Bullet wins this one. Richard Veenstra versus Nitin Kumar. I'm going to say Veenstra on this one. Dirk van Duivenbode. I have him comfortably to beat Andy Beatons. James Hurrell versus Sto Bunce. I'm going to say Hurrell. Just feel like he's got enough about him. Martin Schindler versus Stephen Burton. This is a potential banana skin, and I think I am going to go with I'm going to say Burton. I'm going to go with Burton. Keane Barry versus Tim Poussey. I'm going to say Keane Barry on this one. Ryan Searle versus Chris Lambert. I think Searle will have a very good tournament, so I feel like he'll go quite deep this year, so we're going with Searle. Brendan Dolan versus Tavis Dudney. I'm going to go with Brendan Dolan on this one. Johnny Clayton versus Adam Lipscomb. It's a poor one for Adam Lipscomb. He's had a really good year, but you've got to say Johnny Clayton with this one, haven't you? Dom Taylor versus Oscar Lukasiak. I'm not too sure on either of them, so this is just going to be a blind pick. Well, I'll say Dom Taylor, but truthfully, I'm not too sure on either of them. Michael Smith versus Lisa Ashton. It's a bad draw for Lisa Ashton. If on another day she could have got a nicer tie and she could have gone through a couple of rounds, but I'm going to say Michael Smith. Niels Zonneveld versus Hapai Pua. I'm going to say Zonneveld. Ross Smith versus Andreas Harrison. This is a potential banana skin. I think Smith will win, but I wouldn't be shocked if Harrison did win on the day. Trickle versus Sakai. I'm going to say Sakai. Cheesy versus Fallon Sherrick. A potential banana skin for Cheesy. I think he might win on the day, though. I'm going to take him. Ricardo Petresco versus Jose de Souza. We're going with Pikachu on this one. Luke Humphries, Ted Everts. Well, it's a poor tie for Ted Everts. He's surely it's got to be Humphries that wins on this day. DeGraff versus Lim. It's head and heart. I'm going to go with the heart and say Paul Lim. Vessel Nyman versus Carol Sadalek. We'll go with Nyman on that one. Clemens versus Spellman. I think it's got to be the German Giant on this one. The Asp. Well, the Asp wins on this one easy. Mickey Mansell, Leonard Gates. It's got to be sure. Mansell, yeah. Dedeker versus Munyo. We're going Dedeker. Dowitz versus Dennant. We're going Dowitz. James Wade versus Azamoto. We're going to say Wade. Rapid Ricky Evans versus Man Lok Leung. We're saying Rapid Ricky on this one. Menzies versus Manby. I think Manby might have a really good tournament, so we're going to take Manby on this one. He might surprise a few folk. Matt Campbell, Adam Savada. We're going to say Campbell. Jan Van Veen versus Christo Reyes. We've got to go Jan Van Veen. Alan Suter versus Timu Haju. We're going Suter. Dimitri Vandenberg versus Ice Cold Beverage. Got to be Dimi. Madaz Razma versus Van der Herrick. Madaz. MVG versus Tatsunami. MVG on that one. Willie O'Connor versus Kyok. I'm not sure on that one, but we'll say Willie O'Connor. Peter Wright versus Noah Lynn Van Lyven. We're going Peter Wright. Kim Hyrix versus Arno Merck. We're going to say Merck. Gary Anderson, Adam Hunt. Gary Anderson. Connor Scutt, Simon Whitlock. Well, you love them both, don't you? How could you hate on either of them? I think Scutt's got enough about him at the minute, so Scutt will go through. Watamina versus Grulik. We're saying Watamina. Scott Williams, Nebreda. We've got to say Scott Williams. Danny Noppert versus Jurgen van der Velde. We're saying Noppert. Nick Kenny, Justin Hood. We'll say Kenny on this one. Edhouse Tata. I think Edhouse, surely. Ryan Meikle, Jesus Salante. We're saying Meikle. Josh Rock, Gemma Hater. We're going Rocky. Nico Springer, Joe Comito. Nico Springer. Daryl Gurney, Bo Greaves. I'm going Bo Greaves. I think Bo Greaves is going to have a really good tournament. So we're taking Bo. And Callum Reed's and versus Patrick Kovacs, we're going Callum Reed's. Into the second round, we've got Littler versus Davis. We're saying the Nuke. Cullen versus Mensur Sulovic. Mensur Sulovic, I think. Hetta van Barneveld. I'm going to say Damon Hetta. Not very convincingly, though. Rob Cross, Ian White. I think Rob Cross still has enough about him to cruise that one. Dobie Crabtree. On another day, I'll back Cam Crabtree on this one, but Dobie has been phenomenal lately. So I was saying Chris Dobie. Woodhouse versus Hop. I'm saying Woodhouse. Gezi versus Plazier. I feel Gezi. Joyce versus Rataski. We're saying Ryan Joyce. Bunting versus Veenstra. We're going Bunting. Dirk van Duivenvoorde versus James Hurrell. I think Dirk wins that one. Burton versus Barry. I'm going to say Barry. Searle versus Dolan. We're taking Searle. Clayton versus Dom Taylor. Johnny Clayton wins. Michael Smith versus Zonneveld. We're saying Michael Smith. Ross Smith versus Sakai. That's Ross Smith. Chizzy versus Petresco. I think we're taking Petresco on that one. Humphreys versus Lim. We're going Luke Humphreys. Nyman versus Clemens. I'm taking the German giant Gabriel Clemens. The Asp versus Mickey Mansell. The Asp. Dedeker versus Dowitz. I'm taking Mike Dedeker. Wade versus Rapid Ricky Evans. I think James Wade's got enough class about him. And then Charlie Manby, Matt Campbell. We're taking Manby. Jan Van Veen versus Alan Suter. We're taking Van Veen. Dimitri Vandenberg versus Madaz Razma. I think Dimi wins on that one. Michael Van Gerwen versus Willie O'Connor. It's got to be MVG. Peter Wright, Arno Merck. We're going Peter Wright. Gary Anderson, Connor Scutt. Now that'll be a really brilliant game. And I'm going to say Anderson on this day, but if you ask us tomorrow, I could easily say Connor Scutt. Watamina Williams. I think Watamina has enough about him. Danny Noppert, Nick Kenny. We're going Noppert. Edhouse versus Meikle. I think Meikle might just sneak this one. Josh Rock, Nico Springer. We're saying Josh Rock. Bo Greaves, Callum Reeds. Callum Reeds had a really good World Championship last year, but Bo Greaves this one. Got to be. Into the third round. We got Luke Littler versus Mentor Sulovic, we're saying the nuke. Damon Heta, Rob Cross. Oh, both of them aren't brilliant at the minute, but I'm going to say Damon Heta. Dobie Woodhouse, got to be Chris Dobie. Gerwin Price, Ryan Joyce. I think that's the end of the road for Ryan Joyce. And Gezi wins this for me. Bunting versus Dirk Van Duivenbode, we're saying Stephen Bunting. Keane Barry, Ryan Searle, we're saying Ryan Searle. Johnny Clayton, Michael Smith. I think that might be the end of the road for Bully Boy. I think Johnny Clayton's been really, really good this year. And yeah, for me, he wins that one. Ross Smith, Petresco. I think Petresco might actually win that one. Luke Humphries, Gabby Clemens. We're going Humphries. The Asp versus the Decker. I'm saying the Asp. James Wade, Charlie Mamby. Oh, I think that might be the end of the road for Mamby. James Wade's just a class act. Just an absolute class act. So yeah, James Wade wins that one for me. Jan Van Veen versus Dimitri Vandenberg. We're saying Jan Van Veen. MVG Peter Wright. Used to be classic games between them two, but they're both not on the level they used to be. But MVG for me. Gary Anderson, Jermaine Watamina. I'm going to say Watamina. I am. Watamina there. Noppert Merkel. We're going Noppert. Josh Rock, Bo Greaves. That might be the end of the tournament for Bo Greaves. Josh Rock, he's going far this year. He has to go far for me. So into round 4, we got Luke Littler, Damon Hector. Got to be the nuke. Dobie Price. Oh, you love them both. You can't hate in either of them. I think Dobie might win on this occasion. Dobie is just in the zone right now. Bunting, Searle. I think this is where Searle wins. I think Bunting goes out here. Johnny Clayton, Petresco. We're saying Johnny Clayton, but I don't think it'll be very easy. Luke Humphries, the Asp. Oh, you love them both. Again, two quality class acts, but we're going Humphries. James Wade, Van Veen. I think I'm going to go with Van Veen on this one. I think Van Veen is in the form of his life. MVG, Watamina. We're saying MVG. Noppert Rock. I'm going Josh Rock. And then into the quarterfinals, we've got Littler Dobie. Littler is the man to beat, and I think he wins in the quarterfinals here. So we're going Luke Littler. Searle Clayton. I think Searle might win there. Searle's playing so well this year. I'm going with him. Humphries, Van Veen. This could be a banana skin for Humphries, so I'm going to go with Van Veen. And then MVG, Josh Rock. I'm going Rocky. And then in semi-finals, we've got Littler Searle. Littler for me. And then Van Veen versus Josh Rock. And I'm going Josh Rock. And then into the final, Luke Littler versus Josh Rock for me will be this year's final. And I'm saying this year's winner will be Luke the Nuke Littler. So that's the end of this one, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe and drop a comment letting me know who you think is going to win this year's World Championship.